Welcome back to another installation in my mental health series that I am doing. Now, if you are new to this series, I have got some other videos that you can check out if you want to. I did this series because I am a mental health sufferer myself. I suffer from anxiety and depression. Anxiety being the main one that I have suffered from since I was 16 years old. And it has been very debilitating at times, and it has been very hard at times to get through the day, night, any sort of scenario. It has taken me basically just over about 20 years to finally get to a place now where I feel okay. I'll never be 100% great, but yeah, I can function. I can be like I can be a human basically. So yeah, that's what this series is all about, is just going through all the big players in the mental illness and creating an illustration from that, and sort of either shedding some light upon some things, or putting a little bit of humor into it, or or just making content that is relatable, and just to create like a discussion between you and your family or friends or whoever, if you are dealing with stuff. And the more people talk about it, the better off people will be, because when I developed my mental illnesses back at a time where it was frowned upon to talk about, and if you did talk about it with people, they would look at you extremely weird and be like, what is wrong with you? Just snap out of it. So I bottled a lot of mine up for many years until it started to become more acceptable, and was able to finally talk about it with people, and find out that the friends that I was hanging out with had it as well. And yeah, it's such a good thing now to talk about and help people through these sort of situations. So that's why I created this series, to sort of have that sort of feel to it, that you're not alone. Let's deal with it. Let's get something done about it, and let's throw a little bit of humor in some of it. Some of it's not going to be humorous. Some of it's going to be dark, and that is for a reason. It's how I see the mental illness from my point of view, from someone either with the experience that I have, or from someone who is a mental health sufferer that's looking at another mental health issue that I don't have particularly experience with, but I know people who have gone through these particular mental illnesses. So enough of me rambling. Let's get on to the one that is going to be today, and today's is bipolar. So I'm going to design a bipolar illustration, as well as then talk to you and give you some insight into what I have read about bipolar. And feel free to put a comment below and tell me your experiences, if you're a bipolar sufferer, or just communicate with me, because I'm not going to know everything, because I have never had bipolar. I don't know the exact symptoms. I'm going off of what I have researched the shit out of on the internet to come up with this illustration and to bring this information to you. So yes, without further ado, let's move on to me creating an illustration for bipolar. Bipolar, also known as manic depression, is an illness that makes a person have severe high and low moods. For example, moments of happiness and energy, and then all of a sudden moments of sadness, hopelessness, and no energy. That can last up to about 1 week at a time. They can even feel happy and depressed at the exact same time. They also have extreme feelings of restlessness and need very little sleep to feel rested, have impulsive actions and behavior, also very risky behavior, including gambling your life savings away, massive shopping sprees. Now, apparently there is a couple of different kinds of bipolar, which I was not aware of. You have your classic bipolar, which is just your manic depressant. Then you've got, which is basically what I've read above. And then you've got like the most common one, which is also some of the symptoms above as well, but it's apparently less severe. But if it is left untreated, it can turn into the full-blown bipolar. But with this one, apparently you have bouts of hypomania and as well as depression. Now, the third one is called cyclothymic disorder, which apparently is the same as 1 and 2, but it's actually rarer apparently, because this one allows you to function and be able to do things even though it is hard, and it can be mistaken for full-blown depression. Now, there are a few things that can mask this particular one, so people don't know that they have this cyclothymic disorder, is substance abuse, hallucinations, and delusions can also mask that, and people sort of think that it is something else. Like, doing a bit of research about the different kinds of bipolar was quite confusing. Like, basically the descriptions were all the same, and to me, as far as I'm concerned, all the bipolar, so-called bipolar, different like stages that you can have, to me they just all sort of seem the same, but they tend for some reason to split them up and say that there is like these 3 kinds of bipolar, or however many there is. So yeah, that to me was a little cloudy and sort of confused me a bit. If you're a bipolar sufferer, please let me know if you know what the different kinds of bipolar levels there are, because researching it on the internet was extremely confusing. Now, with the illustration, I really wanted to get across the fact that bipolar can make you feel absolutely excited and happy and absolutely depressed at the same time. So that element of bipolar I really wanted to broadcast and sort of show in this illustration. And to be completely honest with you, I have actually felt happy but depressed at the same time. Now, I haven't been diagnosed with bipolar, but I know for a fact that I don't have that, because my moods are quite stable. I'm pretty much obviously I am an extremely weird person, but basically my moods and my actions really don't go from one extreme to the other. And I have had all those sort of mental tests that you can have and assessments, and yeah, they've all just come back with me being anxious and depressed. And even I know within myself that I am nothing else other than that. So yeah, it's quite interesting to sort of see and go through these different mental illnesses and realize that a lot of them do have very similar traits to them. So yeah, so when you think about it, when you're a mental illness sufferer, you can kind of sympathize with the other mental illnesses, even though you don't have that full-on textbook mental illness, because they are very similar to each other. But then again, it kind of makes sense because mental illnesses come from not a very good place. So they all sort of stem from a place that is a very dark, tormented sort of place as far as I'm concerned with it all. I also gave this monster some a lot of eyes. I wanted like this alert, crazy, hyper, monster that is just like ready for anything. All eyes are just going everywhere, wanting to have a great time. But then you've got the monster on the bottom that is feeling that depressed, low mood and is just like, I don't want to do anything. But then you've got the other half of you basically going, let's go do something crazy, I've just got to say that like all these mental illnesses are such a flaw in our human design, and it's sort of amazing how we can, develop these. And sometimes I sort of think, why? I know that it sort of stems back from the so-called evolution of when we're in the cave, the caveman days, and you have to have that fight or flight sort of thing to get away from predators and all that sort of stuff. But in this day and age, it seems to be a whole sort of different kind of anxiety and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's just sort of amazing how it has kind of sort of branched out and developed over the thousands of years within people. So yeah, it's just sort of boggles my mind sometimes. But I just hope that everyone who suffers from mental illness is coping well and is getting the right help, and you're not alone, and you can get through it, and it will pass, and you've just got to work out how to sort of cope with it all. So it's a learning curve, and that's what I've learned, is you've got to find what works for you. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this illustration, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.